Hi there. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about different cultures and how those different cultures play into our own lives. The culture that I've chosen to talk about is from the country Guatemala. I actually have been there twice through a missions trip, once in 2017 and once again in 2019. And there were trips that truly changed my lives, and I really got to have the opportunity to submerge myself into the culture and truly fell in love with not only the people, but just their practices, and really kind of changed the course of the rest of my life. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about some of those experiences as well as their some of their traditions, their family, food, drinks, holidays, all of those really fun things that are very different from how we live, yet still functions just as properly as maybe we do in some areas. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is some social customs. Just like something super simple that was crazy to me was the fact that the way they drive incredibly fast on highways that are made very poorly, honestly. And I asked our translator, I said, Jerry, how many accidents are there on these roads? And he said, accidents? I don't know the last time I saw an accident. And I said, how? And he said, well, the fact of the matter is everybody just kind of looks out for each other. We honk a couple times to let, people were here. We wave. Everyone's just friendly. He said, we all just look out for each other and are super careful. And I was just baffled by the fact that we're driving this far next to each other on the road, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we're gonna get in an accident. And I'm there for 2 weeks and nobody even did. It's crazy. It's incredible. The next thing I wanted to talk about is some of the food differences. A lot of tortillas, black refried beans, a lot of those foods that you think of in Spanish cultures, they have a lot of. Something I noticed is they didn't have a lot of meats. And it's because they are a poorer country and they're not as fortunate as we are here in America. For lunch, we would often be given fruit and yogurt, which would be considered maybe a breakfast for us. For breakfast, they often have some cereal. What I loved, I thought was incredible, is they put honey on top of their cereal, and it's so good. So much so that I actually do it here at home now. Some of the drinks that they have are actually very similar to us with sodas. They've got Coke and Pepsi and all of your normal drinks, but they're all with pure cane sugar, which might not be as good for you, but is so delicious. I love it. Another drink that they actually use it on holidays for their Christmas Eve and throughout the Christmas time. It's called Ponche de Frutas, and it's basically a hot fruit punch. It's composed of dried fruit, pineapple juice, orange juice, cinnamon, and cloves, and it's apparently super delicious. And according to Review Mag, they celebrate All Saints Day and Day of the Dead on November 1st and 2nd. What they do is they basically go to cemeteries and celebrate the lives of the ancestors that came before them. They also fly kites around and near Antigua to basically connect the living to the dead. And they have a special meal at this time called fiambre. And this meal basically brings all of the families together and they enjoy this meal. Next, Culture Trip says that they even dance on their own family's graves around this time as a way to celebrate the lives that once were. Next, Holy Week. During this time, they have parades, and I actually got to see some of it. It was beautiful. They line the streets in Antigua with these floral murals made out of fresh flowers. It smells amazing, and it's incredibly beautiful. Some of the clothes are very different from what we would see here. The little kids, they wear shorts, t-shirts, pants, those sort of things. So do the little girls and boys do this. The elder males you'll see wearing essentially what you would see here in America. They wear jeans, t-shirts, that sort of thing. The biggest difference is the ladies. What the ladies wear is they have got these beautiful embroidered handmade skirts, sometimes dresses and shirts, and this is pretty traditional. I actually went to a tiny, tiny little village called Shehuyup, and it's very traditional, and they wear mostly this all of the time. Starting probably, I'd say, around age 10, the girls do this, and it's absolutely beautiful just the way they look. And, that's who they are. And so even when we went there, my team, us girls wear the long skirts to be modest and to show that we respect their culture as well. The religion in Guatemala is mostly Roman Catholicism, but it's just so crazy. We went to Shehuyup, which is 3-4 hours away from Antigua, and they've never even heard the name of Jesus at all. So they're not even familiar with Roman Catholicism, let alone Jesus. And it's just so crazy to see that culture there, from Antigua, which is a beautiful city that people travel to for vacations, is actually really third world. And it's just crazy to see. They speak Quiche, and which is an ancient Mayan language, and they just essentially learn Spanish like we would in a classroom as a second language. But throughout this trip, our goal was to help spread the name of Jesus, and building buildings to help them be able to develop more of their town, which was very, very, very small. And the people are just wonderful, and it just taught me so much about what true contentment means. And so the culture there in Guatemala, all across, is just absolutely wonderful. I highly recommend going.